Alright, so picture this. It's Christmas Eve, snow falling, but it ain't no festive wonderland. Nah, it's the world's ending. You're about to freeze your butt off kind of vibe. And I'm literally 16, pregnant standing in my living room, watching my parents pull the ultimate savage move they kicked me out. Like, for real. No cap. My dad went from 0 to 100 real quick, his face turning betrayed, veins popping screaming about fixing the problem. You know, abortion. That was their brilliant solution to my existence. A minor inconvenience to them. Not a human life. Not their own flesh and blood. And my mom? She just stood there, staring at the polished hardwood floor, looking like I was already gone. Already erased from the family picture, a literal ghost in her own house. It was like I was dead to them right then and there. They wanted me to get rid of my baby, and I just couldn't. Like my gut, my whole being screamed no. It was this deep, primal feeling stronger than any fear they could instill. So I grabbed my bag, the one packed in secret, stuffed with basically nothing. Just a few hoodies in my journal, and they just watched. Seriously, not a single word. No goodbyes, no hug, no be safe out there in the little blizzard, nothing. Just pure, suffocating silence as I dipped out into that white hell, 16 and totally ghosted. Can you even imagine that level of coldness both outside and inside? It was a brutal initiation into adulthood, a brutal icy farewell to the only life I knew. That night, a part of me froze too, hardened by their indifference. For 2 whole years after that ice-cold exit my best friend's FAM. Absolute MVPs. I swear they were my ride, or die's my actual lifesavers. They didn't hit me with a million questions or judgment. They just took me in, no hesitation. Their house was chaos in the best way, full of noise and laughter, and it felt more like home than my own ever did. I remember one time, I was at the grocery store, pushing Lily in the cart, and I saw my mom's car in the parking lot. My heart jumped into my throat. I ducked behind an aisle, convinced she'd see me, judge me, maybe even try to take Lily. It was pure paranoia, but the fear was real. That's how much their rejection had messed with my head. Meanwhile, my friend's parents helped me finish high school, even watched my daughter, Lily, while I pulled graveyard shifts at some janky diner. The smell of stale coffee and fried food was my constant companion, a reminder of the grind, but it meant Lily had what she needed. And y'all, Lily? She was, and still is, the most fire thing I've ever seen. Like, seriously pure magic. Every little giggle, every tiny finger wrap around mine, it just solidified that feeling. Never once, not for a single second, did I regret having her. She's my whole world, no cap. Everything I did, every single grind, I did for her. She was my reason, my anchor in the storm my parents had unleashed. I did try hitting up my parents once when Lily was like 6 months old. It was a random Tuesday. I remember late at night feeling lonely. My mom picked up. I could hear her breathing, that shaky little breath she always did when she was nervous or upset, that little catch in her throat. I whispered, "Hello?" My voice probably sounded tiny and lost, like a kid hoping to be heard, desperate for a connection. And then click. She just hung up. Dead. Just like that. It wasn't even a dialed tone, just a hard, definitive click that echoed the finality of their rejection. It was so casual, so dismissive. That was it. That was the last time I tried. What's the point, right? Like, why bother if they couldn't even say hi or acknowledge my existence? It felt like another punch to the gut, a clear sign that they were done with me permanently. Life kept moving, though. I wasn't just surviving. I was thriving. When Lily turned 5, I finally had enough saved up for our own tiny apartment. It was kinda janky, yeah, had this weird smell, and the floorboards creaked like crazy every time you moved, but it was ours. It wasn't some palace, but it was our space, our little kingdom, built brick by brick with my own hard work, my own grit, fueled by coffee and sheer stubbornness. And by the time she was 8, it snagged my associate's degree, something I never thought it'd actually do, considering everything, and landed a decent gig at an insurance company. It was glamorous, but it paid the bills and then some. We were chillin', just the two of us against the world, holding it down. We were a team always. Like, seriously, we had our own little system going: homework, dinner, bedtime stories, my late-night study sessions. We were good, thriving in our own bubble, proving them wrong without even trying, living our best life. Then, last year, out of nowhere, my phone blows up. Lila's 13 now, practically a whole person herself, with her own opinions and TIKTOK dances. And the number, bro, I still recognized it, even after 15 years of absolute radio silence. My heart did this weird little skip, and dropped thing like a glitch in the Matrix, sending a jolt of anxiety through me. It was my dad. And get this, his message wasn't even an apology. It was a demand. "We need to see you. We need to meet our granddaughter." "It's Sergeant. No, how are you? No, we're sorry." Just a blunt command. Man, I almost didn't go. My first thought was, what right does he have? Just popping back into my life like HES always been there. Like, for real, where have you been for a decade and a half while I was grinding and raising a whole human alone? Maybe I wanted Lily to know her grandparents. Maybe I, deep down, needed to answer some kind of closure for all those years of hurt. A way to understand the blanks in my past. Or maybe, just maybe I needed to face them, not as the scared, rejected kid they tossed out, but as the grown woman I became. The one who built a whole life without them, who became strong because of them, not with them. We met at a coffee shop near my place. The vibe was instantly awkward, like trying to talk to someone you haven't seen since elementary school, but with 1,000 pounds of unspoken baggage. They looked old, and kinda small, almost shrunken like time had withered them down. It was wild to see them like that after so long. My mom started crying the second she saw me, big silent tears rolling down her face, a mix of awe and regret. My dad, he cowed and even looked me in the eye at first, just kept his gaze fixed on the table, probably practicing his lines, looking totally uncomfortable. He slid his tiny box across the table. Inside was a little silver bracelet, something dainty, a baby bracelet. He mumbled, "We got this for your baby." Right after you left. It was so passive, so late. My mom, her voice barely a whisper, finally spoke, "We were going to come find you, bring you home, but then your father had his accident." An accident? Nah, I never heard about any accident. They never tried to hit me up after that, not a single text, no random calls, nothing. My dad rolled up his sleeve, and there it was, a long gnarly scar running down his arm. Like a bad movie prop. "Drunk driver," he said. 2 days after I left. He was in a coma for 3 months. And when he woke up, he called it remember the last 5 years. He didn't remember me getting pregnant. He didn't remember throwing me out. My mom had to tell him everything, fill in the blanks of those lost years. But by then, they had no clue where I was. Like Sarah Lee's 0 ways to track me down. Or so they said. And honestly, something about it just didn't sit right with me. The details felt too neat, too convenient. "Why didn't you look harder?" I asked, my voice cracking, a mix of anger and draw heart bubbling up. I wasn't hiding FAM. I was literally just living my life, using my real name, working, going to school. He reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "No thanks, not yet." That's when he dropped a real tea, the actual gut-wrenching reason for the call after all these years. My mom had staged for pancreatic cancer. 6 months, tops, the doctor said. That's why the urgency. She wanted to meet her granddaughter. His voice was hollow, like HED practiced those words 100 times, totally rehearsed, trying to get it perfect. He wanted to try and make things right before it was too late, before she was gone for good. I just sat there, my coffee getting colder and colder, a bitter taste in my mouth, reflecting the bitterness in my soul. A part of me wanted to just bounce, to get up and walk out, to make them feel just a fraction of the abandonment he'd felt all those years. Like, give them a taste of their own medicine, right? Make them feel the sting of being utterly dismissed. But another part of me, the part that had spent years raising Lily and dealing with all the real-life adulting stuff, understood something about forgiveness. It wasn't about them deserving it, but about me needing it to move forward. I need time to think was all I could manage. My brain was just buffering, trying to process this whole wild revelation. This unexpected curveball. When I got home, Lily knew something was up. She's 13, but legit she reads me like a book. No filters, no holding back. I've never kept secrets from her, so she knew the drill. She knew she had grandparents somewhere, knew they hadn't wanted me to have her, that had been kicked out. So I spilled everything, exactly what happened at the coffee shop. No sugarcoating it, no softening the blow. I laid it all out for her, the good, the bad, the utterly bewildering. "I think you should let them meet me," Mom, she said after a long pause, really thinking it over, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Not for them, for you. So you can finally close that door. My kid, man." She was wiser than I could ever hope to be. Like, seriously, where did she get that wisdom? It blew me away. She was giving me advice, the adult, the one who was supposed to have all the answers. The next weekend, we met at a park. The air was crisp, and the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Lily was nervous, you could totally tell, her hands fiddling with her shirt, but she tried to play it cool. I watched my parents' faces when they saw her for the first time. My mom covered her mouth, a shaky hand, tears just streaming down her face, a mix of awe and regret. My dad just stood there, stunned like he was seeing a ghost, a living embodiment of his past mistake, his jaw slack. "She looks just like you did," he finally said, his voice all choked up, barely a whisper. Lily, always braver than me, walked right up to them. No hesitation. "I'm Lily," she said, holding out her, then like the little adult she sometimes pretended to be, all poised and formal. My mom reached out shakily to take it, but then bless her heart, she pulled Lily into a hug instead, a desperate longing embrace. I tensed, ready to step in if things went sideways, ready to protect my kid, but Lily hugged her back. And just like that, a tiny crack appeared in the wall I'd built around my heart, a little glimmer of light, a flicker of hope. It was wild to witness, a silent conversation happening between them, bridging 15 years of absence, a new chapter beginning. Over the next few months, we settled into this weird, kinda awkward routine. Sunday dinners at their house, stiff at first, then slowly easing into something resembling family. My mom teaching Lily to bake the same cookies she used to make with me, the ones I remembered from being a little kid, the scent of cinnamon and sugar filling the air, a ghost of childhood. My dad showing her his elaborate model train collection that had somehow survived all these years, explaining every tiny detail, a hidden world from his past. It was perfect, not by a long shot. There were arguments, tears, moments when old wounds ripped wide open and it felt like being 16 again, raw and exposed. But there were also moments of healing I never, ever thought possible. Like real, genuine connection, little sparks of joy in the discomfort. We were navigating this new, fragile dynamic, each step tentative but meaningful. One night, after Lily had finally gone to bed, exhausted but happy, my dad and I sat alone on their back porch. The stars were out, and the air was cool, almost peaceful. He hadn't had a drink since that coma, he told me, looking out into the darkness, his gaze distant. He swore it, his voice low and serious. When my mom had told him what HED done, what HED said to me, how HED thrown me out, he just couldn't believe he was capable of it. I spent years hating myself for driving you away. He said, his voice rough, like he was carrying a heavy weight, a silent burden. Then spent years trying to find you to make it right. You didn't try hard enough, I blurted out. Harsher than I intended, the words just flying out before I could stop them, the old hurt still sharp and stinging. You're right, he said simply. He didn't argue, didn't try to defend himself. He just owned it. I failed you. I can't change that. But I swear to you, I won't fail you or Lily again. His voice was steady, like he truly meant it, a solemn vow under the night sky. And for the first time, in a very long time, I believed him. There was genuine remorse in his eyes, a depth I hadn't seen before. I started to let my guard down, thinking this was it. This was the breakthrough. My mom's condition got worse, and way faster than the doctors expected. It was a rapid, brutal decline. For months after we were connected, she was in hospice care. It was brutal to watch her fade, to see that vibrant woman shrink into a shadow. I took time off work to help out, pretty much lived there, sleeping on a pool, out couched by her bedside. Lily would sit by her bed after school, reading to her or just holding her hand, those tiny, strong hands of hers, giving her so much comfort, so much love. It was beautiful and heartbreaking all at once, watching their bond form as her life ebbed away. The night before she died, my mom asked to speak to me alone. She was so thin, barely a shadow of the woman who raised me, her voice a reedy whisper, almost gone. I should have stood up for you, she whispered, tears in her eyes, tears of true regret. I should have followed you out that door. Not a day went by that I didn't hate myself for staying silent, for not fighting for you. I held her hand, just like Lily had been doing, tracing the lines on her papery skin. I forgive you, Mom, I said, and surprisingly truly I meant it. The anger I'd carried for so long, that heavy burden, it felt lighter, almost gone, replaced by a profound sadness. I felt a sense of peace, believing her regret was the full truth. She shook her head weakly, a tiny defiant movement, her eyes meeting mine, intense and clear for a moment. Don't say that yet. There's something else you need to know. And then she dropped the bomb. The real, raw, unfiltered truth that flipped everything I thought I knew upside down. Like a whole season finale of a show I thought I understood. My dad had been trying to find me for over a decade. The accident was real, but her story about him forgetting everything. No, not entirely true. He remembered everything within a year of recovery. They hired private investigators, searched social media, even put up billboards in nearby cities with my picture. Can you believe that? Billboards! My actual picture on a massive billboard looking for me. The sheer effort was wild, almost unbelievable. Then why didn't you find me, I asked, my voice tight, bordering on a scream, a mix of disbelief and renewed betrayal, the anger flaring up hotter than ever. I was on Facebook. I used my real name. I never hid. I was literally just living my life, out in the open, not in some witness protection program. Because I told them to stop looking, she said, her voice almost gone, barely audible, a chilling confession hanging in the air. I was ashamed. I couldn't face what we'd done to you. Your father wanted to keep searching, but I convinced him you were better off without us. I couldn't speak. My mind was blown. All these years, I thought they hadn't cared enough to look for me, that I was just an afterthought, easily forgotten. The constant take of wondering if I was ever missed. But they had looked. And my mom had been the one to give up, to put a stop to it, to keep me lost, to maintain her shame at my expense. The truth, it hit me like a ton of bricks, a whole damn building falling on me, revealing the real villain of that part of my story. The one who caused the lasting pain, the prolonged separation, the years of unanswered questions, the true architect of my emotional isolation was actually her. It was a gut punch, a true plot twist I never, ever saw coming. The relief I felt earlier evaporated, replaced by a new, more profound betrayal. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to blame him, she said, looking straight at me, her eyes pleading, weak but determined, trying to control the narrative one last time. Be angry with me if you need to be, but don't punish him for my cowardice. She died the next morning with all three of us by her side, the sun just barely peeking through the window, casting a gentle light. A quiet peace finally settled over her face. It was heartbreaking seeing her go, but there was also this weird, complicated sense of closure, of understanding that finally settled in. The anger was still there, but now it was directed more accurately. After the funeral, I found my dad sitting alone in their bedroom, the room feeling empty without her, holding that tiny silver baby bracelet. The one I cheated given me at the coffee shop, this little symbol of a past he couldn't fully erase. "Did she tell you?" he asked without looking up, his voice raspy, already knowing my answer. I just nodded, sitting beside him on the bed, the mattress sinking slightly with my weight. "I should have kept looking anyway," he said, his voice full of regret, heavy with the weight of years and unspoken apologies. "I should have found you despite her, no matter what." The sincerity in his voice was palpable, crushing and yet oddly comforting. "You found me eventually," I said a little more gently than I thought I would, placing my hand on his arm, a gesture of peace, a quiet acceptance. That's what matters now, and it was true. The past was messy, filled with betrayal and abandonment, lies and half-truths, but the present was here, offering a path forward, built on honesty, finally. It's been 2 years since my mom passed. My dad sold their house, the one with all those memories, and bought a smaller place just a few blocks from us. It's kinda cozy, and it means HES always around. He picks Lily up from school sometimes, goes to all her volleyball games, cheering louder than anyone, usually embarrassing her a little with his dad. Level enthusiasm, but she secretly loves it. Last month, he helped her with a science project, and they took first place. He was so proud, beaming like a little kid. Yesterday, Lily asked if she could start calling him Grandpa instead of Mr. Thomas. I said that was fine with me. More than fine. It felt right, like a puzzle piece finally slotting into place, completing a circle that was broken so long ago. People always ask why I finally answered when my parents reached out after all those years, especially after everything that happened, the pain, the lies, the sheer audacity of it all. I tell them it wasn't about my parents deserving forgiveness. It was about my daughter deserving to know her family, flaws and all, the good, the bad, the ugly, the unbelievably complex. And maybe, just maybe, it was about me too. Finally letting go of the angry, frightened teenager I once was. The one who walked out into that blizzard, utterly alone. Forgiveness doesn't magically make the past disappear, it doesn't erase the hurt, but it does make room for a better future. It allows you to breathe again. And that future includes my dad teaching Lily to drive, just like he taught me. Some circles, you know they're just meant to be completed, even if it takes a lifetime to draw them, even if the path to closure is twisted with unexpected truths.